So here we have a split view, right, that is responsive horizontally, right? That as the screen becomes smaller, the left-hand side hides, right, so that it can be rendered in smaller screens, right? But I'm pointing out the fact that if the left-hand side is too big vertically, right, it adds a scroll bar, right? And notice that yes, I can scroll up and down, which is fine. But a nicer behavior would be that the left-hand side would scroll independently of the right-hand side, right? So that the right-hand side would stay put if it doesn't need to scroll, right? So that you can scroll just the left-hand side, right? So let's play around with that a little bit. If we inspect the left-hand side, let's put this down at the bottom. If we inspect the row, let's see, where is this? This is the entire row, and on the left-hand side we have the column on the left-hand side, and we have the column on the right-hand side. We have the two columns right here, right? So what we could do is to take over the behavior of where these things are positioned, right? Ourselves, and once we do that, right, we can control exactly what the sizes are going to be and how the scroll is going to behave for each individual column, right? So, for instance, let's take over the right-hand side. What we could do is to use position and use the absolute position, right? And the whole thing just broke, right? Let's try and fix this, right? Just stick with me for a minute. What we can do is to override the height of this ourselves, right? So we can say that I'm going to have the top stuck to the top to the beginning to 0%, 0 pixels, and stick the bottom also. Bottom also to 0 pixels. And I believe it's rendering, but it's being hidden by the right-hand side. So I'm going to just change the z-index to be something bigger. So there it is, right? So there is our left-hand side. It's a little better. Let's try a little further. Maybe we can bring it down a little bit, maybe to 60 pixels. There it is. Okay. And right now, notice that the scroll bar is still just scrolling both of them, right? So what we'd like to be able to do here is that if I hover over this, notice that it's taking up, it's being stuck above at 60 pixels and below at 0 pixels, right? What I'd like to be able to do is that if the content doesn't fit, which it doesn't, right? The content's too big to fit, right? What we could do is change the way the overflow is managed, right? The overflow controls what to do with the content that doesn't fit, right? Right? And one of the things you could do is that I can make it scrollable, right? And say that the content, if it doesn't fit, make it scrollable, right? And notice that I can now just scroll the left-hand side independently of the right-hand side. Right, I can scroll just the left-hand side, but notice that I don't really need the scroll on the bottom. I only really need the scroll up and down, right? So you can individually control the scroll bars, right, and say that I just want this. I'm trying to control the overflow on the vertical position. I don't want to control the overflow on the horizontal position, right? So I can say the overflow Y. I want the scroll bar, but I don't want the scroll bars for going left and right. I just want the scroll bars from up and down. Everybody okay? Right. So that would take care of the left-hand side, but the right-hand side is still broken. Right. We need to fix the right-hand side. So to fix the right-hand side, what we could do is for it to just be cognizant of how to behave, right, when at different positions, right? For instance, when I have the left-hand side, the right-hand side should be compensated. Notice that because we removed the left-hand side, we remove the left hand, is no longer pushing, right, the right hand side. We remove the left hand side of the rendering, and so now we have to take care of the right hand side. So what we could do is we could say that that it's going to have it's going to have some distance from the left hand side. Okay, so it's gonna. So one way that we could do is, let's see, what could we do? We could. There's a couple ways of doing it. We could also use position. Let's see. We could do absolute, and we can put right 0. That's one way, right? We can say that you have an absolute position, and I'm just going to drag you, right, so that your right-hand side is stuck to the right-hand side of the container. That's one way of doing it. What that would allow us to do also, right, is to have itself have its own overflow. We can say the overflow y is scrollable, right? So that, it's not scrolling. Why are you not scrolling? Oh, probably because I need to do the same thing I did earlier, right? I can say the top is going to be 60 pixels. The bottom is 0 pixels. Let's see if that works. There it is. So we have the right-hand side scrolling all on its own, right? And then we have the left-hand side also scrolling all on its own, right? So notice that this is only temporary, right? If I refresh the page, all it's gone. So before I refresh, I want to make sure that I grab some of this styling, right, on the left-hand side. Let me grab that, okay, and create a class so that I can apply it to the left-hand side. And I'll go to styles, and I can say maybe .jga, and then say .jga split view left. So I'll put in there those transformations, right? And I can then apply another rule that is going to be maybe split view right. Split view right, which is going to have the other styling is going to be position absolute. Oh, okay, wait a minute, sorry. This is inside of a media rule, meaning that this is only being applied to screens that are at least 1200 pixels and above, right? So I need to copy the entire rule. I don't want that. Okay, so that if I apply JGA, okay, a column adding .jga, what do I call it? Split view right. There it is. Okay, so now if I can apply these classes to each one of these, so this will be on the column. Is it on the column? Yeah, it's on the column, right? It's on the column, yeah. Split view left, and then apply it to the column on the right. So split view right. Now let's see, I'm going to refresh. I hope I don't lose this. What did I miss here? Const split view right. AJ split view right. Oh, maybe, okay, like that. Maybe like that. There we go. Yeah, so it's combined, meaning column large 9 and JGA split view right. Right. What this says is that they're nested, right? Meaning first is column large 9, and then something nested inside has that class. Instead, this says that they're both being applied to the same element, right? Right, there we go. Right, so now we have the left-hand sides being scrollable and the right-hand side being scrollable independently. Okay, that makes sense, right? And feel free to reuse these classes for your own purpose, right? And change them to your own liking. Okay.